The medical bag felt heavier with each step down the corridor. Dr. Owen Matthews walked between armed escorts, their boots echoing against cold metal walls. Nobody looked at him. Nobody spoke. The silence carried more weight than any verdict. Station Obsidian floated in the forgotten edges of space. No stars shone through its viewports. No rescue vessels patrolled nearby. Only darkness surrounded the facility, matching the darkness of its purpose. The galaxy's worst criminals lived here, locked away from civilization. Owen had spent 15 years healing soldiers. His hands had closed wounds that should have been fatal. He saved generals and privates alike, never asking which side they fought for. 3 weeks ago, that principle destroyed his life. The memory burned fresh. A young alien soldier, barely 18 years old, bleeding across an interrogation table. His commanding officer wanted answers. Wanted the prisoner to suffer until words spilled out with the blood. Owen saw trembling hands trying to hold torn flesh together. He made his choice. He sedated the prisoner, stopped the bleeding, filed a formal complaint against his superior for torture. 2 days later, military judges convicted him in a closed hearing. No cameras, no public record, just a quick sentence for aiding the enemy. The punishment came with creative cruelty. They stopped at a reinforced door. Warning symbols covered its surface in 17 languages. The head guard, a massive alien with 4 arms, entered the access code. Hydraulics hissed. The door split open. The chamber beyond could hold a small spacecraft. Transparent walls on the far side revealed the cell. Owen's throat tightened. The dragon inside was enormous. Black scales covered a body built for destruction. Wings large enough to block out sun stayed folded against his back. Claws like curved blades scraped metal when he shifted, but the eyes held Owen's attention. Golden and aware, they tracked every movement with frightening intelligence. A woman in a warden's uniform stepped forward. She was human, which made the situation feel worse somehow. "This is Kaelor," she said without emotion, "last surviving member of the Drakon species in custody. He destroyed Settlement Meridian, killed 412 colonists, burned entire families in their homes. He stays alive because certain officials want to study his species." Kaelor's lips pulled back, revealing teeth designed to tear through armor. The warden ignored the display. "Your sentence is 30 days inside that cell. No weapons, no communication devices, no protection. Survive and you'll be released with a dishonorable discharge. Die and you'll have expired doing what you apparently love, trying to save worthless lives." "The soldier I saved was conscripted against his will," Owen said quietly. "He was a victim." "Not my concern." The warden gestured to his uniform. "Stripped to basics. The medical kit stays. I find that detail amusing." Owen removed his jacket and boots. They let him keep his medical bag, probably thinking it added irony to his death sentence. A healer dying with all his tools, unable to save himself. The inner airlock opened. Owen walked through. It sealed behind him with crushing finality. The cell stretched 50 meters across and 20 meters high. No furniture existed except a waste unit and food dispenser. Claw marks scarred the walls, some gouges deep enough to fit a human fist inside. Kaelor remained in the far corner, shadows seeming darker around his form. Those golden eyes never blinked. Owen set his bag down and sat against the opposite wall. His heart pounded, but he controlled his breathing. Panic helped nobody. He learned that during his first battlefield posting when a transport crashed, leaving him surrounded by screaming wounded with limited supplies. You assess. You prioritize. You act. Emotion comes later. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Kaelor watched him like a predator studying prey. Owen watched back, using the time to observe details. The dragon's left wing hung lower than the right. His movements showed hesitation when shifting weight to his rear leg. Scales around his shoulder looked darker, suggesting old blood beneath. "Why are you not running?" Kaelor's voice rumbled deep enough to vibrate Owen's chest. He spoke perfect common language with an educated accent. "Where would I run?" Owen asked. "You could reach me in 3 seconds. Running just means dying tired. You could beg. Most do. Would it change anything?" Kaelor tilted his massive head. "No." "Then I will not waste our time." The dragon made a sound that might have been amusement. "Our time." Interesting words. "I will kill you eventually. You understand this?" "Maybe," Owen replied, surprising himself with his calmness. "But you have not done so yet. You have had plenty of opportunity. So either you are playing with your food or something else is happening here. Kaelor moved forward into better light. Owen fought every instinct screaming at him to press against the wall. The dragon's size overwhelmed the senses. Each tooth matched the length of Owen's hand. One casual swipe would end everything. I destroyed Settlement Meridian, Kaelor said. Your file claims unprovoked aggression. My file was written by liars. Old anger burned in the dragon's voice, steady like coals that never cool. They were torturing my kind, taking us from frontier settlements, calling us dangerous, then experimenting on us. I found the facility beneath the mining operations. Found my people strapped to tables, conscious while your species cut them apart to study how we heal. Something cold settled in Owen's stomach. That information appears in no official report. No, it would not. Easier to call me a monster than admit what your government does in darkness. Kaelor settled back slightly. So tell me, healer, why are you here? What crime earned you this fate? Owen met those golden eyes directly. I saved someone I was ordered to let die. A prisoner. They wanted him to suffer for information. I could not watch that and do nothing. Silence stretched between them. Kaelor's expression shifted into something thoughtful. You chose mercy over orders. I chose my oath over convenience. And they sent you here to die for it. Yes. Kaelor made that sound again. Definitely amusement this time. Perhaps this will prove more interesting than I expected. The dragon retreated to his corner, but something in the cell's atmosphere had changed. Owen could not name it yet, but he remained alive. He had survived over an hour with the galaxy's most dangerous prisoner. That had to count for something. Days blurred together in the cell. Owen developed routines because routines kept minds stable during impossible situations. Wake when lights brightened. Eat tasteless rations. Exercise to prevent muscle loss. Check medical supplies. Sleep in short intervals with his back against the wall. Kaelor watched everything. The dragon seemed never to sleep, or perhaps he slept differently. Owen would close his eyes and open them hours later to find those golden eyes still observing him. Not hostile, more like a scientist studying an unusual specimen. On the fourth day, Owen began speaking. Not to fill silence, but to maintain his sanity. Talking to a dragon beat talking to himself. I grew up on a farming colony called Greenfield Station, he said while organizing his medical kit. Small population. Everyone knew everyone. When I was 10, a plague swept through our settlement. Something in the local crops we had not identified properly. Our only doctor worked 4 days straight trying to save people. She collapsed at her desk with patient records still open before her. Kaelor's tail twitched. The first voluntary movement Owen had seen beyond breathing. My father was one of the people she saved, Owen continued. I decided then that I wanted to do what she did. Save lives. Make the choice every day to preserve life even when it cost everything. He closed the medical kit. Looks like it finally cost me everything. Why tell me this? Kaelor rumbled. Because you asked why I am here. I am giving you the complete answer. I could still kill you. I know. But if these are my last days, I would rather spend them being honest than afraid. Kaelor made a sound between a growl and a sigh. Honesty is rare, especially in places like this. The 6th day brought change. Kaelor tried to shift position, and Owen caught the slight hitch in his movement. The momentary tension in the dragon's jaw. The careful way he redistributed weight. Owen had seen these signs thousands of times in wounded soldiers trying to hide pain. Your left leg is bothering you, Owen said. The temperature seemed to drop 20 degrees. Kaelor's eyes narrowed into slits of molten gold. Watch your words, human. I'm a medic. Noticing injuries is what I do. I am not some weak prey animal for you to study. I did not say you were weak. I said you are hurt. Owen remained seated, keeping his voice level. The hesitation when you move. How you favor your right side. The darker scales near your left shoulder joint suggesting old blood or infection. You have been compensating for months, possibly longer. Kaelor rose to his full height. Wings spread slightly in a dominance display that made Owen's survival instincts scream at him to run. You dare suggest I'm damaged? I suggest you are in pain. There is a difference. Every living being experiences pain. Acknowledging it is not weakness. Ignoring it until it cripples you is foolish. The dragon's claws carved new gouges in the metal floor. They caused this during my capture. Fired some weapon into my shoulder joint. Their doctors here keep me alive, but they do not heal. They want me capable of being studied, but not comfortable. Owen's hands clenched. He had seen that treatment before in war prisoners. Maintaining life without providing care. It violated every medical oath he had ever taken. Let me examine it, he said. Kaelor laughed, a terrible sound like grinding stone. You want me to allow a human to approach me, to touch me so you can finish what your species started? So I can help. Owen stood slowly, hands visible and empty. You said yourself I chose mercy over orders, that I was sentenced here for refusing to let someone suffer. Why would I suddenly decide to cause suffering now? Because I killed 412 of your kind. You were specific about that earlier. They had your people on tables, conscious, being cut apart. You stopped it the only way you could. That is not murder. That is rescue. Kaelor stared at him for a long moment. You believe me? Your story makes more sense than the official report. Governments lie when truth is inconvenient. I learned that the hard way. Owen took one careful step forward. I am not saying what you did was right or wrong. I am saying you are hurt. I can help. Sitting in pain for however long they keep you here serves no purpose. I could bite you in half. Yes. You could have done that any time in the past 6 days, but you have not. You have watched me, listened to me, even talked with me, so maybe you are tired of being treated like a monster and would not mind being treated like a patient for once. The dragon's wings folded slowly. He settled back to the floor, but his posture remained tense. If you try anything beyond healing, I will make your death slow. Understood. Owen picked up his medical kit and walked across the cell. Each step felt like moving through deep water. His training warred with survival instincts. Every part of his brain not focused on medicine screamed at him to stop approaching the apex predator. He knelt beside Kaelor's left shoulder, close enough to feel heat radiating from the scales. The wound was worse than expected. A deep puncture, badly infected, with tissue damage extending into muscle beneath. Whoever treated this initially had done the minimum to keep Kaelor alive while ensuring maximum discomfort. This will hurt, Owen said, opening his kit. I need to drain the infection and clean the wound properly. I have limited pain medication, and I am not sure how it will affect your physiology. Do what you must. I have endured worse. Owen worked with steady hands, doing what he had done 1,000 times before. Assess damage. Clean the area. Drain infection carefully. Kaelor remained absolutely still, but Owen felt the tension in the dragon's muscles, the barely suppressed sounds of discomfort. I had to watch them die, Kaelor said suddenly. My people. After I destroyed the settlement and freed the prisoners, the Galactic Council sent warships. They said my species was too dangerous, that we proved we could not coexist with others. They hunted us across 3 sectors, shot us from the sky, killed children who had never harmed anyone. Owen's hands never stopped working, but he listened. I was a healer among my kind, Kaelor continued, voice thick with old grief. I tended wounds and sickness. I saved hundreds during the wars. Then I watched them burn while your ships fired into refugee groups. The galaxy calls me a monster for destroying one settlement. What does that make them for destroying an entire species? It makes them the same thing, Owen said quietly. Murderers who write the history so they look like heroes. He applied antiseptic and Kaelor hissed. I am sorry. Almost done. Why do you apologize? You were not there. Because you are in pain and I am causing it even though it is necessary. That deserves acknowledgement. Kaelor turned his head to look at Owen with one golden eye. You are a strange human. I have been told that before. Owen finished cleaning the wound and applied what medications he had. The infection would take days to fully clear. He would need to change the dressing regularly. But it was a start. Thank you, Kaelor said when Owen packed up his kit. Those 2 words, coming from a dragon who had killed hundreds, somehow meant more than all the commendations Owen had received in his military career. He had just treated the galaxy's most dangerous prisoner. Both of them remained alive. Maybe they would stay that way a little longer. Part 3, Fire and Freedom. 2 weeks passed in the cell. Owen changed Kaelor's dressing every day. The infection cleared. The dragon moved with less pain. Something else changed too. They talked. Real conversations about medicine, philosophy, and what it meant to choose healing in a galaxy that seemed to prefer violence. Kaelor taught Owen about Drakon anatomy and their traditional healing methods. Owen shared human medical techniques and stories from his years treating battlefield casualties. Your people use synthetic medications, Kaelor observed one evening while Owen cleaned the wound. My kind relied on natural compounds from plants. Mixing them required precision. Too much of certain roots could stop a heart. Too little and the medicine did nothing. We use both, Owen replied. Synthetic drugs for emergencies, natural remedies for long-term treatment. The best medicine combines knowledge from every source available. He applied fresh bandaging. You could teach classes on this. There are physicians who would give anything to learn from a Drakon healer. There are no Drakon healers left, just me. And I am locked in a cell waiting to die. Owen sat back, looking at the dragon who had become something close to a friend over these strange weeks. Do you want to die? No, Kaelor admitted. But wanting does not change reality. Even if I survive you, they will keep me here until my body gives out or until some bureaucrat decides I am more useful dead than alive. Then we need to change their minds. Kaelor's laugh was bitter. With what power? You are a convicted criminal and I am a war criminal. The galaxy does not listen to people like us. Maybe not yet. But things can shift. Truth has a way of surfacing eventually. In the control room 3 levels above, the warden watched the video feed with growing anger. This was not how the sentence was supposed to go. Owen should be dead. Kaelor should have torn him apart within days. Instead, they were cooperating, talking. The human was actively treating the dragon's injuries. Worse, some of the guards had started watching the feeds during breaks, commenting on how different Kaelor seemed when someone treated him like a person instead of a monster. How Owen's compassion was impressive. The story was spreading through the station like a virus. The warden's superiors were asking uncomfortable questions. She had received very specific orders when Owen was sent here. Make sure he dies. Make it look like an unfortunate accident. No trials meant no public records, but a dead medic who chose the wrong side needed to serve as a warning to others who might question orders. The warden opened a secure communication channel. We have a problem. The human has survived 2 weeks and formed a bond with the dragon. I need authorization to end this manually. The voice on the other end was cold and political. Do it during the next shift change. Fewer witnesses. Make it a system malfunction. Depressurize the cell. Both of them die. Blame it on old equipment and move on. Understood. Back in the cell, Owen woke from light sleep to find Kaelor staring at the ceiling with unusual intensity. The dragon's body language screamed alertness. Something wrong? Owen asked. The air circulation changed rhythm 3 minutes ago. The observation cameras repositioned twice in the last hour. The food delivery came early today. Kaelor's eyes tracked invisible patterns. They are going to kill us. Owen's blood chilled. You are sure? I have been in this cell for 5 years. I know every sound, every pattern, every routine. When things change, it means someone is planning something. The dragon looked at Owen. They never intended for you to survive 30 days. You were sent here to die quietly. But you did not die. Now we are a problem. How long do we have? Hours. Maybe less. Kaelor shifted position, testing his mobility. Thanks to Owen's treatment, he moved better than he had in months. Your people built this cell to hold me, but they built it assuming I would be injured and weak. I am stronger now. Owen stood and examined the walls, thick reinforced metal designed to withstand a dragon's strength. But near the floor where the wall met the corner, maintenance panels provided access points for repair crews. There, he pointed. If you can tear through the panel, we might reach the maintenance corridor. And then what? We are on a prison station in deep space. Where do we run? I do not know yet, but I would rather die trying to escape than wait for them to suffocate us. Owen grabbed his medical kit. Can you do it? Kaelor approached the panel. His claws, once tools of destruction, now worked with surgical precision. Metal shrieked as he pried the panel open. Behind it, a narrow corridor stretched into darkness. I will go first, Owen said. It is too small for you, but if we reach the main maintenance hub, there might be larger passages. You trust me to follow? You have had 2 weeks to kill me. I think we are past that point. Owen squeezed into the corridor. Kaelor's breathing echoed behind him as the dragon forced his bulk through the opening. Metal groaned under the strain. They crawled through darkness for what felt like hours. Owen's hands found ladder rungs. He climbed. Above, dim emergency lights revealed a larger maintenance area. Equipment hummed. Pipes carried recycled air throughout the station. Kaelor emerged behind him, wings scraping against the confined space. We need a plan. Even if we escape this section, the entire station will hunt us. Not if we give them a reason not to. Owen spotted a communication terminal. These maintenance stations have direct access to station systems. If I can access the main computers, I can broadcast the truth. Show everyone what really happened at Settlement Meridian. Show them why you did what you did. They will not believe it. They might if they see the evidence. You said there was a facility beneath the mining operations. There must be records, communications, something. Kaelor was quiet for a moment. When I destroyed the settlement, I copied their files. Everything they had done to my people. I transmitted it to a secure location before they captured me, but I never had the means to share it. Where is it? A data cache in the Outreach Nebula, only accessible with specific coordinates and encryption keys. Owen's fingers flew across the terminal. Years of military experience had taught him basic systems access. Give me the coordinates. I can set up a timed broadcast. Once we are clear, it will transmit everything to every major news network in the galaxy. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. They know we are gone, Kaelor growled. Owen worked faster. Kaelor recited coordinates from memory. Owen programmed them into the system, setting a 12-hour delay. Enough time to escape if they could find a ship. Footsteps echoed in nearby corridors. Voices shouted commands. The docking bay, Kaelor said, 2 levels down. There are always a few maintenance shuttles. They ran. Owen's lungs burned. Kaelor moved with fluid grace, his healed shoulder allowing full mobility. They burst through a service door into the docking bay. 3 small shuttles sat in magnetic locks. Guards rushed toward them from the far entrance. Get to the ship, Kaelor commanded. I will handle them. We do this together. Kaelor's eyes blazed with something between gratitude and determination. He roared, a sound that shook the entire bay. The guards hesitated. Fear was a powerful weapon. Owen sprinted to the nearest shuttle. His hands found the manual override. The hatch opened. Kaelor backed toward the ship, keeping himself between Owen and the guards. Fire will damage the ships, one guard shouted. That moment of hesitation was all they needed. Kaelor leaped into the shuttle. Owen slammed the hatch and threw himself into the pilot seat. His fingers danced across controls. The engines roared to life. Magnetic locks disengaged. The shuttle lurched forward. Energy bolts struck the hull, but the shields held. They burst through the atmospheric barrier into open space. Behind them, Station Obsidian grew smaller. Ahead, infinite possibilities stretched across the stars. Where do we go? Owen asked. Anywhere but here. Kaelor settled into the cargo area, his massive form barely fitting. But eventually we go to the Outreach Nebula. We make sure that broadcast reaches everyone. We make sure the truth is known. Owen set course for the nearest neutral system. Behind them, hidden programs activated on Station Obsidian's mainframe. In 12 hours, every major network would receive files showing exactly what humanity had done to the Drakon species. Why Kaelor had made his choice. The galaxy would learn that sometimes monsters were made, not born, and sometimes the greatest courage came from showing mercy when the world demanded violence. 2 outcasts flew through darkness toward an uncertain future. A healer and a dragon, both condemned by a system that feared truth more than lies, but they were free. And freedom meant possibility. The story was far from over. It was only beginning.